We're going to have a talk about melanin and the truth of it, because there is a lot of misunderstanding around this topic as well as alchemy. And I'm going to be honest, I've hesitated doing this talk. In fact, I uploaded a signal about a week ago and I took it down, which I rarely do. My signal was fine, but the maturity of the collective and the ability to handle this conversation is what I was worried about, because there is still an open wound very much around races. More than one race. So I didn't want to be anyone to take and misuse the information. However, the signal hit the field, and I've seen about 4 videos in 2 days with conversations and approaches that are not only inaccurate, but also not remotely close to even understood by the ones making the videos. So before I begin this, I do not do theory and I don't guess. My confidence doesn't come from knowledge. I've read, yes, but I don't read or learn from anyone else. Not anymore. I pull from my own inner source, and each of us have that, but it must be earned through yourself, between you and you, doing the inner work. That's the only way. You have your own vault. The more work you do, the more access you will have to it. But not everyone talking on these subjects have wisdom in any way. An intellectual believing that you know can be a block. Everyone has melanin. So let me say that again so it actually lands. Every single human being on this planet has melanin, regardless what you look like, where your lineage comes from, what flag was planted in the dirt by your ancestors. None of that. It's all running through their system right now. It is in your skin. It is in your eyes. It is lining your inner ears so that you can hear. It is sitting inside your brain in 2 specific structures, the substantia nigra and the locus coeruleus. It's governing your dopamine and your norepinephrine. Now, that's your capacity for drive, reward, and focused awareness. The black substance is literally inside every human brain, regardless of the color of the person carrying it. Biology doesn't make that distinction. We do. So before we go any further, let's get that straight. Second, what melanin actually is, because the conversation that is happening out here right now is being built on a foundation that nobody actually has examined. People are drawing lines with something that they do not understand, and I cannot stand here and watch that happen without saying something, because I've spent too long in all of these systems: biological, chemical, energetic, experiential. So I'm not going to let a wound go undressed or dressed up as wisdom when it's not. Melanin is not a pigment. I mean, it is, but that's the most surface level description of something that researchers are only just now beginning to understand the full scope of. Melanin is a transducer. It takes energy and form and converts it into another. Photons, sound waves, thermal fluctuations, mechanical pressure, magnetic fields. Melanin receives all of it and converts it into a continuous bioelectrical charge. It is a biological antenna. Now, science has even found that it's like the human body's version of making chlorophyll. So what chlorophyll is to plants, which is how it's absorbing energy from the environment and initiating a chain reaction that produces chemical energy for its system, is the same thing here. It's a hybrid electronic ionic conductor, and when it's hydrated, it conducts both electrons and protons simultaneously. It is living circuitry, and the reason darker skin carries a higher concentration at the surface is because those bodies were built at the origin point, the equilateral cradle. This is where intensity of the incoming signal was the highest. More melanin on the interface means the more conversion happening before the signal ever reaches the interior. That is not superiority. That is engineering a very specific way to the environment. Everybody is engineered for the conditions that it emerged from. That is all. Now, here's where I need you to actually follow me here, because this is the part that nobody's talking about and somebody has to. Alchemy. Like the 4 stages: Negredo, the blackening; Albedo, the whitening; Citrinitas, the yellowing; Rubedo, the reddening. Every human being alive on this planet, when you look at the actual spectrum of the human skin tone, falls somewhere along these 4 stages. That is not my opinion. That is a pattern that predates every living person in this conversation by thousands of years. The old alchemists weren't describing race, dog. They were describing a process, a single unified process of transformation that requires all 4 stages to complete itself. And the critical thing that gets missed is the wound keeps being used and opened up against itself, but it's literally Not that the stages of alchemy are hierarchy. There is no stage superior to another. Negredo is not lesser than rubedo. Negredo is the primal materia, the first material, the stage of maximum absorption, maximum potential, and before the work is even differentiated into anything else, it is the chemical crucible, the black stage, the one where everything is received, nothing is reflected, everything is held. The alchemists describe this as the raw material of all transformation. The black, common overlooked, capable of receiving all light precisely because it reflects none of it. Now, if you understand melanin now, you understand that that description is not an insult. It is the most precise description of a catalyst that has ever been written. A catalyst does not get consumed by the reaction that it initiates. It holds the condition, it makes the transformation possible for everything around it, and then the next stage can emerge because of it. Like, not above it, not replacing it, but because of it. You cannot have albedo without negredo. Like, already being done. This is a process. You cannot have the white emerge without the black. Having the raw material and initiating that process is the outcome. But this is the part of the wound that has been inverted on all of us. They took the sequence and ranked it when there was never a rank. Like, we are doing alchemy together because we are all one thing, and alchemy is a process, and we are doing that process as the one thing. Now, I want to speak on something I don't really speak about much, and I'm going to be careful with this one because I don't want to promote a pathway, but I have thousands, literally thousands of hours in the psychedelic realms. So I'm going to tell everyone how it is, because a couple of the videos I've seen was literally one race saying that another race shouldn't or whatever. Let me explain something to you. First of all, DMT. The reason that you see entities, period, is because you are fucking blocked. Those are the blockers, the gatekeepers. You cannot access what is behind them until you actually do the inner work. And none of those realms have a damn thing to do with melanin concentration. It is all coherence. The DMTs that you encounter in there are reading your own literal coherence. You cannot take a shortcut and a cheat code to get that depth. I know from direct experience. If you don't believe me, go do a whole bunch of work on yourself, real fucking shadow work, and then go back in and see what happens. Because if you were seeing the entities, they are the gatekeepers. Now, another thing, understand that, like, when you're in there, you don't go anywhere. You are exploring your own mind. The reason that everybody sees the same entities, I did not see the entities, but like a few times. Why? Because I am coherent as fuck. And even then, I was coherent. I never would promote this as something to, like, go do. If you feel called for these sorts of things, like, hell yeah, go experience. It's not my place to tell anybody what to do, but I will step in when shit is confused and misunderstood. There is still an open wound for us as a collective on the topic of race. And none of us can, one, we've never had the right lens for it. We all know that things were turned against us and they created hierarchy. Go study alchemy. Like, we are the literal alchemical process in real fucking form, in real time, doing work as the one thing. As little things, also doing our own work. In order for us to get, like we have to get past this. You know, so we need to have real conversations. None of us here at this time played any part in what was. We play the part now, but I will not be fucking categorized by somebody saying white people this. You won't be categorized by people saying black people this. Like, we are all fucking unique individuals. And by the way, those groups that they are calling out is probably the motherfucking NPCs, and everybody got all riled up over it. Like, we have spent a long time evolving and growing and learning, and you don't understand how fucking important it is that this energy leaves us. We are better than that. Like, the ones who did the shit, the ones who are still doing the shit, is not me. Is it you? Because if it's not you either, then why the fuck are we talking about it in that way? Everybody's missing the point. I just gave you the raw science of it. I just gave you the facts of it. Like, all of this is found in your own bone marrow, in the halls of a mentee. That's what actually preserves your entire lineage, and everything that you would pull from like your lineage past comes from that system. Listen, if you want to access these things, it is deep inner work. And we most certainly aren't going to go anywhere forward as a collective if we still hold on to these wounds. And I'm not saying that they're not real, but if you do feel some type of way from these conversations, like, you have to understand, it's not that you're wrong in any way, but you acknowledge you still have a wound there. How do we fix it together? I know how to fix the wounds. I know how to walk people directly through themselves and the system. So this isn't me trying to say like we forget what happened. What happened played out here, but it is a call to remember what we are, and that every stage of the work is running simultaneously in one species, on one planet, at one exact moment. The alchemical sequence is asking all of its elements to recognize each other so that we can complete the reaction. There is no higher science than you could ever learn than alchemy. But it is time for us to finish the work. And the work requires all of us.